Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, Khan. I'm going to be doing my Thursday night reading. Every Thursday, I'll be continuing reading from New York's best time selling series by Scott Westerfield. Yeah, by Scott Westerfield. By Scott Westerfield. Uglies. So we're starting with Uglies. All right. Uh, those who cannot see in Miko, this is in Miko. This is in Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. So, just a recap of what happened last week. We have this protagonist, Tally. Yes. She is in a dystopian future where the people who are under 16 are considered uglies, and they will only go through this classic surgery after they turn 16, and they become the clan of pretties. But she was separated from her best friend with 3 months years of age, and what do you call it, with 3 months difference 3 months difference of age, and she could not wait for 3 months to see him again. So she sneaked from a place called Uglyville to go to New Pretty Town, and she was almost caught, and then she bumped into another ugly and made a new friend on the way back after escaping from New Pretty Town. Yeah. So I'm going to continue the next chapter. Before that, let me share let me share. Hi, Alajat. I'm just about to start reading my book, Bedtime Story for Thursday night. I'll be right back. Hi, thank you for joining me. 1 second. Okay, and I'm back. All right. Okay. So the next chapter. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. You're not hearing this music. Let me share this music with you guys. Yeah. Let me share this amazing music. Relaxing ASMR. Oh, there you go. Okay. Let me. Uh. Mhm. Okay. So the next chapter is called Wipeout. Tally fell off again. The spell didn't hurt so much this time. The moment her feet slipped off the hoverboard, she relaxed, the way Shay kept telling her to. Spinning out wasn't much worse than having your dad swing you around by the wrist when you were little. If your dad happened to be a superhuman freak and was trying to pull your arms out of their socket, though. But the momentum had to go somewhere, she explained, and around in circles was better than into a tree. Here in Cleopatra Park, there were plenty of those. After a few rotations, Tally found herself being lowered to the grass by her wrist, dizzy but in one piece. Shay cruised up, banking her hoverboard to an elegant stop as if she was born on one. That looked a little better. It didn't feel any better. Tally pulled off one of the crash bracelet and rubbed her wrist. It was turning red and her fingers felt weak. The bracelet was heavy and solid in her hands. Crashed bracelets had to have metal inside because they worked on magnets, the way boards did. Whenever Tally's feet slipped, the bracelets go all hovery and caught her fall, like some friendly giant plucking her from danger and swinging her to a halt by her wrist again. Tally pulled the other bracelet off and rubbed. Don't give up. You almost made it. Tally's board cruised back on its own, nuzzling her ankles like an apologetic dog. She crossed her arms and rubbed her shoulders, and rubbed her shoulders. I almost snapped in two. You mean? Ah, never happens. I've spilt more times than a glass of milk on a roller coaster. On a what? Never mind. Come on. One more try. Tally sighed. It wasn't just her wrist, her knees ached from banking hard, whipping through turns so quickly that her body seemed to weigh a ton. Shay called that high gravity, which happened every time a fast-moving object changed direction. Hoverboarding looks so fun, like being a bird, but actually doing it is hard work. Shay shrugged. Being a bird's probably hard work too. Flapping your wings all day, you know? Uh, Maybe. Does it get any better? For birds? I don't know. On a boat, definitely. I hope so. Tally pulled her bracelet on and stepped onto the hoverboard. It bobbed a little and adjusted to her weight, like bounce on a diving board. Check your belly sensor. Tally touched her belly ring, where Shay had clipped the little sensor. It told the board where Tally's center of gravity was and which way she was facing. The sensor even read her stomach muscles, which it turned out hoverboarding was always clenched in anticipation of turns. The board was smart enough to gradually learn how the body moved, and more Tally rode, the more it would keep itself under her feet. Of course, Tally had to learn too. Shay kept saying that if your feet weren't in the right place, the smartest board in the world couldn't keep you on. The riding surface was all knobbly for traction, but it was amazing how easy it was to slip off. The board was oval shaped, about half as long as Tally was tall, and black with silver spots of a cheetah, the only animal in the world that would run faster than a hoverboard could fly. It was Shay's first board, and she'd never recycled it until today. It hung on, until today, it hung on the wall above her head. Tally snapped her fingers, bent her knees as she rose into air. Then she leaned forward to pick up speed. Shay cruised along, just above, staying a little behind. Okay, next page. The tree started to rush by, whipping Tally's arm with the sharp stings of evergreen needles. The board wouldn't let her crash into anything solid, but it didn't get too concerned about twigs. Extend your arms. Keep your feet apart, Shay yelled for the 1,000th time. Tally nervously scooted her left foot forward, and at the end of the park, Tally leaned to her right, and the board pulled into a long, steep turn. She bent her knees, growing heavy as she cut towards when they started. Now, Tally was rushing towards slalom flags, crouching as she drew. She could feel the wind drying her lips, lifting her ponytail up. Oh boy, she whispered. The board raced past the first flag, and she leaned hard right, her arm all the way out for balance. Switch! Cried Shay. Tally twisted her body to bring the board under her and across, cutting around the next flag. Once it was past, she twisted again, but her feet were too close together. Not again. Her shoes slipped across the surface of the board. No! She cried, clenching her toes, cupping the air with her palms, anything to keep herself on board. Her right shoe slid towards the board's edge until her toes were silhouetted against the trees. The, sh- the trees started. Where was I? Oh, here again. Sh- The trees. She was almost sideways, her body parallel with the ground. The slalom flag zoomed past, and suddenly it was over. The board swung back under Tally as her car straightened out again. She made the turn. Tally spun to face Shay. I did it, she cried, and fell. Confused by her spin, the board had tried to execute a turn and dumped her. Tally relaxed her arms, jerked straight, and the world span around her. She was laughing as she descended to the grass, dangling by her bracelet. Shay was also laughing. Almost did it. No, I got around the flag. You saw. Okay, okay, you made it. Shay laughed, stepping off onto the grass. But don't dance around like that afterwards. It's not cool, Squint. Tally stuck her tongue out. The last week, Tally had learned that Shay only used her ugly nickname as a put down. Shay insisted they call each other by their real names most of the time, which Tally had quickly gotten used to. She liked it. Actually, nobody but Saul and Ellie, her parents, and a few stuck up teachers had ever called her Tally before. Whatever you say, Skinny, that was great. Tally collapsed in the grass. Her whole body ached, every muscle exhausted. Thanks to the lesson. Thanks for the lesson. Flying's the best. She sat down close by. Never bored and hoverboard. This is the best I felt since. Tally didn't say his name. She looked up into the sky, which was glorious blue, a perfect sky. They hadn't gotten started. until late afternoon. Above, a few high clouds were already showing hints of pink, even though sunset was hours away. Yeah, Shade agreed. Me too. I was getting sick of hanging out alone. How so? How long so? How long? How long you got? Shay answered instantly. 2 months and 26 days. Tally was stunned. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. Tally felt a big, slow smile roll across her face, and she fell back onto the grass laughing. You've got to be kidding. We've got the same birthday. No way. Yay, way. It's perfect. We'll both turn pretty together. Shay was silent for a moment. Yeah, I guess. September 9th, right? Shay nodded. This is so cool. I mean, I don't think I can stand to lose another friend. I don't have to worry about one of us abandoning the other. Not for a single day. Shay sat up straight. Her smile was gone. I wouldn't do that anyway. Tally blinked. I didn't say you would, but. But what? But when you turn, you go over to New Pretty Town. So, pre- pretties are allowed to come back over here, alright. Tally snorted. But they don't. I would. Shay looked out over the river at the spires of the party towers, placing a thumbnail firmly between her teeth. So would I. So would I, Shay. I'd come and see you. Are you sure? Yeah, really? Okay, but you're not the first person to make that promise. Yeah, I know. There was silence for the moment. Clouds rolled slowly across the sun, and the air grew cool. For a moment, clouds rolled slowly across the sun, and the air grew cool. Tally thought of Paris and tried to remember the way he used to look back when he was nose. Somehow, she couldn't recall his ugly face anymore, as if those were the minutes of seeing him pretty had wiped out a lifetime of memories. All she could see now was pretty Paris, those eyes, that smile. I wonder why they never come back, Shay said. Just to visit. Tally swallowed. Because we're so ugly, Skinny. That's why we're just ugly. That's the end of that chapter. Let me grab a drink. Hi, thank you for watching. Do share and like my SMR for book reading, if that is something that you enjoy. Let's just see what we can do. Okay, so now we move on to the next chapter. The next chapter is called Facing the Future. Yeah. Here's two options. Tally touched the interface ring and the wall screen changed. This Tally was sleek with ultra high cheekbones, deep green cat like eyes, and wide mouth with curled into knowing smile. That's pretty different. Yeah, I doubt it's even legal. Tally tweaked the eye shape and parameters, pulling the arc of the eyebrows down most to normal. Some cities allow exotic operations for new pretties only, but authorities here were notoriously conservatives. She doubted a doctor would give her a more for a second glance. It was fun to push the software to its limits. You think I look too scary? No, you look like a real pussycat, she giggled. Unfortunately, I mean, that is in literal dead mouse eating sense. Okay, moving right along. The next tally was much more standard morphological model, with almond-shaped brown eyes, straight black hair with long bangs and dark lips set maximum fullness. Pretty generic tally. Oh, come on, I worked on this one for a long time. I think I look great this way. There's a whole Cleopatra thing going. You know, she said, I read that real Cleopatra wasn't even that great looking. She seduced everyone with how clever she was. Yeah, right. And you've seen a picture of her? They didn't have cameras back then, Squint. Duh. How do you know she was ugly? Because that's what historians wrote at the time. Tally shrugged. She was probably a classic pretty, and they didn't even know it. Back then, they had weird ideas about beauty. They didn't even know about biology. Lucky them. Cher stayed out the window. So, if you think all my faces were so crappy, why don't you show me some of yours? Tally cleared a wall screen and leaned back on the bed. I can't. Hi, Zainal. Thank you. You can dish it out, but you can't take it, huh? No. No, you can't. You can dish it out, but you can't take it, huh? No, I mean, I just can't. I never made one. Tally's jaw dropped. Everyone made morphos, even littlies, too young for their facial structure to have set. It was a great waste of it was a great waste of day, figuring out all the different ways you could look when you finally became pretty. Not even one. Maybe when I was little, but my friends and I stopped doing that kind of stuff a long time ago. Well, Tally set up. We should fix that right now. I'd rather go hoverboarding. Shay shrugged anxiously under her shirt. Tally figured that Shay slept in her belly sensors on, hoverboarding in her dreams. Later, Shay, I can't believe you don't have a single morph. Please? It's stupid. The doctors pretty much do whatever they want, no matter what you tell them. I know, but it's fun. Shay made a big point of rolling her eyes, but finally nodded. She dragged herself off the bed and plopped down in the front of the wall screen, pulling her hair back from her face. Tally snorted. So you have one. So you have done this before. Like I said when I was little. Sure. Tally turned her interface ring to bring up the menu on the wall screen and blinked her way through a set of eye mouse choices. The screen's camera flickered with laser light, and a green grid sprang up on Shay's face. A field, a field of tiny squares imposed across the shape of her cheekbones, nose, lips, and forehead. Seconds later, two faces appeared on the screen. Both of them were Shay. But there were obvious differences. One looked wild, slightly angry, and the other had a slightly distant expression, like someone having a daydream. It's weird how it works, isn't it? Tally said. Like two different people. Shay nodded. Creepy. Ugly faces were always asymmetrical. Neither half looked exactly like the other. So the first thing the Morpho software did was fake each side of your face and doubled it. Like holding a mirror right down the middle, creating two examples of a perfect symmetry. Already, both the symmetrical shades look better than the original. So, Shay, which do you think is your good side? Why do I have why do I have to be symmetrical? I'd rather have a face with two different sides. Tally groaned. That's a sign of childhood stress. No one wants to look at that. Jay, I wouldn't want to look stressed, say Shay snorted, pointed at the wilder looking face. Okay, whatever. The right one's better, don't you think? I hate my right side. I always start with the left. Yeah, well, I happen to like my right side. Looks tougher. Okay, you're the boss. Tally blinked, and the right side face filled the screen. First, the basics. The software took over. The eyes gradually grew, reducing the size of the nose between them. Shay's cheekbones moved upwards, and her lips became a tiny bit fuller. They were already almost pretty size. Every blemish disappeared, her skin turning flawless and smooth. The skull moved subtly under the feature, and the angle of her forehead tilting back, her chin, her chin becoming more defined, her jaw stronger. When it was done, Tally whistled. Wow, that's pretty good. Great, Shay groaned. I totally look like every other new pretty in the world. Well, sure, we just got started. How about some hair on you? Tally blinked through the menus quickly, picking a style at random. When the wall screen changed, Shay fell over on the floor in the fit of giggles. The high hairdo towered over her thin face like a dunce cap. The white blonde hair utterly encourageous with her olive skin. Tally could hardly manage to speak through her own laughter. Okay, maybe not that. She flipped through the more styles, settling on basic hair, dark and short. Let's get the face right first. She tweaked the eyebrows, making she tweaked the eyebrows, making their arc more dramatic, and added roundness to the cheeks. Shay was still too skinny, and even after the morpho software had pulled her towards the average. Maybe a little lighter? Tally took the shade of the skin closer to baseline. Hey, Squint, she said. Whose face is this anyway? Just playing, Tally said. You want to take a shot? No, I want to go hoverboarding. Sure, great, but first let's get this right. What do you mean, get it right? Tally, maybe I think my face is already right. Yeah, it's great. Tally rolled her eyes. For an ugly. Shay skull. What? You can't stand me? Do you need to get a picture in your head so you imagine instead of my face? Shay, come on, it's just for fun. Making ourselves this ugly is not fun. We are ugly. This whole this whole game is just designed to make us hate ourselves. Tally groaned and flopped back onto her bed, glaring up at the ceiling. Shay could be so weird sometimes. She always had a chip on her shoulder about operation. Someone like making her turn 16. Right, and things were so great back when was ugly. Or did you miss that days in school? Oh, sorry. Wrong voice. Right, and things were so great back when everyone was ugly. Or did you miss that day in school? Yeah, I know. Sherry stuttered. Everyone judged everyone else based on their appearance. People were taller, got better jobs. And people even voted for politicians just because they weren't quite as ugly as everybody else. Blah, blah, blah. Bye. Yeah, and people killed one another over stuff like having different skin color. Tally shook her head. No matter how many times she repeated it at school, she'd never quite believe that one. So, what if someone looked more alike now? It's the only way to make people equal. How about making them smarter? How about making them smarter? Tally laughed. Fat, fat chance. Anyway, it's just to see what you and I will look like in only 2 months and 15 days. Can't we just wait until then? Tally closed her eyes, sighing. Sometimes I don't think I can. Well, tough luck. She felt Shay's weight on the bed and light punch in her arm. Hey, might as well make the best of it. Could go overboarding right now. Please. Tally opened her eyes and saw her friend was smiling. Okay, hoverboard. She sat up and glanced at the end of the screen. Even without much as work, Shay's face was already welcoming, vulnerable, healthy, pretty. Don't you think you're beautiful? She didn't look and shrugged. That's not me. It's some committee's idea of me. Tally smiled and shrugged her. And hugged her, not shrugged her. It will be you, though, really you, soon. That's the end of one chapter. Let me grab a drink. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hmm. Excuse me. La 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 la. All right, let's continue, you guys. to the next chapter. Pretty boring. That's the next chapter it's called. Let's see. Okay, the next chapter. Pretty boring. I think you're ready. Tally cruised to a stop. Right foot forward, left foot up. Bend the knees. Ready for what? Shay drifted slowly past, letting the breeze tug her along. They were they were as high up, as far out as hoverboards would go, just above the treetop level, at the edge of town. It was amazing how quickly Tally had gotten used to being up high, with nothing but a board and bracelet between her and a long fall. The view from up here was fantastic. Behind them, the spires of New Pretty Town rose from the center of town, and around them was the green belt, a swath of forest that separated the middle and the late pretties from the youngsters. All the generations of pretties lived out in the suburbs, hidden by the hills in the rows of big houses, separated by strips of private green for the littlies to play in. Shay smiled. Ready for a night ride? Oh, look, I don't know if I want to cross the river again, Tally said, remembering her promise to Paris. She and Shay had shown each other a lot of tricks over the last 3 weeks, but they hadn't been back into New Pretty Town since the night they'd met. Until we get turned, of course. After last time, the wardens are probably all. I wasn't talking about New Pretty Town, Shay interrupted. The place is pretty boring anyway. We'd have to stick around all night. Okay, you mean just board around Uglyville? Shay shook her head, still coasting gradually away on the breeze. Tally shifted her weight on the board comfortably. Where else is there? Shay put her hands in her pockets and spread her arms, turning the dorm jacket into a sail. The breeze pulled her farther away from Tally. By reflex, Tally tipped her toes forward so her board would keep up. Well, there's out there. Shay nodded at the open land before them. The suburbs? That's Dullsville. Not the burbs. Past them. Shay slid her feet in the opposite directions to the very edges of the board. Her skirt caught a cool evening wind, which tugged her away even faster. She was drifting towards the outer edge of the green belt, off limits. Tally planted her feet, dipped the board, and pulled up next to her friend. What do you mean? Outside the city completely? Yeah, that's crazy. There's nothing out there. There's there's plenty out there. Real trees, 100 years old, mountains and ruins. Ever been there? Tally, of course. I don't I don't mean the school trip, Tally. You've been there at night. You ever been there at night? Tally brought her board in a sharp halt. The rusty ruins were the remains of an old city, hulking, reminder of back when there'd been way too many people and everyone was incredibly stupid and ugly. No way, don't tell me you have. Shay nodded. Tally's mouth dropped open. That's impossible. You think you're the only one? You think you're the only one who knows good tricks? Well, maybe I believe you, Tally said. Shay had that look on her face, the one Tally had learned to watch out for. But what if we get busted? Shay laughed. Tally, there's nothing out there. Like you just said, nothing and no one to bust us. Do hoverboards even work out there? Does anything? Special, special ones do, if you know how to trick them, and where to ride. And getting past the burbs is easy. You just take the river a whole way farther upstream. It's white water, too rough for skimmers. Tally's mouth dropped again. You really have done this before. A gust of wind. A gust of wind billowed in Shay's jacket and slid farther away, still smiling. Tally had to lean her board into motions again. To stay within the earshot, a tree trunk brushed her ankles as the ground below them started to rise. It'll be really fun, Shay called. Sounds too risky. Come on, I've been wanting to show you this since ever we met. Since you told me you crashed Pretty Party and pulled a fire alarm. Tally swallowed, wishing she'd told the whole truth about the night, how it had all just sort of happened. Shay seemed to think she was the world's biggest daredevil now. Well, I mean, that alarm thing was partly an accident, kind of. Yeah, sure. I mean, maybe we should wait. It's only a couple of months now. Oh, that's right, she said. A couple of months and we'll be stuck inside the river. Pretty and boring. Tallis nodded. I don't think it's exactly boring, Shay. Doing what you're supposed to do is always boring. I can't imagine anything worse than being required to have fun. I can, Tally said quietly. Never having any. Listen, Tally, these 2 months are our last chance to do anything really cool. To be ourselves once we turn. It's new pretty, middle pretty, late pretty. Shay dropped her arms and her board stopped drifting. Then, dead pretty. Better than dead ugly, Tally said. Shay shrugged and opened her jacket into a sail again. They weren't far from the edge of the green belt now. Soon Shay would get a warning, then her board would settle. Besides, Tally argued, just because we get the operation doesn't mean we can't do stuff like this. But pretties never do, Tally. Never. Never. Tally sighed, slipping her feet again to follow. Maybe that's because they have better stuff than do kid tricks. Maybe partying in town is better than hanging out in a bunch of old ruins. Shay's eyes flashed. Oh, maybe when they do the operation, they grin and stretch your bones, to the right shape and peel off your face and rub all your skin away and stick in plastic cheekbones so you look like everybody else. Maybe after going through all of that, you just aren't interesting anymore. Tally flinched. She never had the operation described that way, even in bio class. They were they went into details. It didn't sound that bad. Come on, we won't even know it's happening. You just have to you just have pretty dreams the whole time. Yeah, sure. A voice came into Tally's head. Warning, warning, restricted area. The wind was turning cold as the sun dropped. Come on, Shay, let's go back. It's almost dinner. Shay smiled and shook her head and pulled her interface ring. Now she wouldn't hear warnings. Let's go tonight. You can ride almost as well as me now. Shay, do this with me. I'll show you the roller coaster. What's a second warning? Restricted area. Tally stopped her board. If you keep going, Shay, you'll get busted, and we won't be doing anything tonight. Shay shrugged as the wind tugged her father away. I just want to show you something that's my idea of fun, Tally. Before we go all pretty, and only get to have everybody's idea of fun. Tally shook her head, wanting to say that Shays had already taught her how to hoverboard, the coolest thing she'd ever learned. In less than a month, she'd feel like they were best friends, almost like when she met Paris as a littlie. And when she'd known instantly they'd be together forever. Shay, please. Tally sighed. Okay. Sh- Shay dropped her arms and dipped her toes to bring the boards to a halt. Really? Tonight? Sure, Rusty Ruin it is. Tally told herself to relax. It wasn't a big deal, really. She broke rules all the time, and everyone went to the ruins once a year on school trips. It couldn't be dangerous or anything. Shay zoomed back and the edge of the belt, sweeping up, swooping up beside Tally to put her arms around her. Wait until you see the river. You said it's got white water. No, wrong voice. You said it's got white water. Yeah. Which is that? Shay smiled. It's water, but much, much better. And you guys, that's the end of my reading for tonight. Why I want to finish early? It's because I'm a little bit hungry. I'm a little bit hungry wherever I am. But maybe I'll uh, leave off one song to sing tonight. A nice, soft song. Okay? Something, something soft. Maybe I'll sing in Malay. Okay? Test, test. One, two, 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 test. Beribu bintang di langit ini menghilang, meraba aku dalam kelam. Rembulan menggambang kini makin suram, pudar ilhamku tanpa arah. Sedetik wajahmu muncul dalam diam, dada kedipan nada sinar. Itukah bintang atau rembulan? Terima kasih ku ucapkan. Izinkan ku mencuri bayangan wajahmu. Izinkan ku mencuri hayalan denganmu. Maafkanlah, andai lagu ini mengganggu ruangan hidupmu. Kau senyumlah, sekadar memori kita di arena ini. Kau ilhamku, kau ilhamku, kau ilhamku. Izinkan ku mencuri bayangan wajahmu. Kau ilhamku, izinkan ku mencuri hayalan denganmu. Maafkanlah, wajahmu. I miss that. Izinkan ku mencuri hayalan denganmu. Maafkanlah, andai lagu ini mengganggu ruangan hidupmu. Kau senyumlah, sekadar memori kita di arena ini. Kau ilhamku, izinkan ku mencuri hayalan wajahmu. Kau ilhamku, izinkan ku mencuri hayalan denganmu. Kau ilhamku, izinkan ku mencuri bayangan wajahmu. Kau ilhamku, kau ilhamku, kau ilhamku. Well, that's it for me this evening. Thank you very much for joining me on my SMR reading a nice bedtime story for everyone. Okay, so that's it. Good night. Take care. Please stay safe. And don't forget to follow my Instagram, follow my TikTok. And also, don't forget to tune in every Saturday. Every Saturday. Okay, let me try again. So, don't forget to tune in every Saturday on the EMP Variety Show, 9 p.m. Malaysian time, 8 plus GMT. Take care and good night. Bye bye.